Here's the wildest thing about the parts of yourself that you hate. Every single one of them is a gift. And when you see the truth underneath them, everything changes. Welcome to day 3 of the self-compassion reboot, from self-criticism to self-connection. I am Angie, your inner glow coach, and today we're doing one of the deepest, most transformative exercises of this entire challenge. We're going to take the pieces of yourself that you've been fighting, and we're going to learn how to see what they've been trying to give you all along. So, let's start here. You were not born hating parts of yourself. Those beliefs, and again, beliefs are not truths, they came from experiences such as criticism, pressure, trauma, comparison, rejection, or just in general, the moments where you didn't feel safe being yourself. So, your brain did what all logical brains do. It created a story that sounds like, I'm too much, I'm not enough, I should be different, there's something about me that I need to fix. And the more that you repeat these stories to yourself, the more that they become your identity. So, self-hate is not a personality flaw. It's a collection of survival strategies that you never even asked for. And one of the most powerful things that I've learned, and I teach my clients, is this: the traits that you dislike the most about yourself often hold your greatest strengths in disguise. So, let me give you an example of this. I used to hate the fact that I was anxious. And not only did I hate it, I carried a lot of shame around it, and I tried to hide it, which made it even worse. And the practice that we're going to talk about today and the exercise, when I did this practice, one of the first things I looked at that I didn't like about myself was anxiety. And I had to find the gift in it. And when I really thought about it, it made me realize that anxiety made me hypervigilant, and hypervigilance is one of the reasons that I am so in tuned with my intuition, which, just to be clear, we all have intuition. It just varies to what degree we're attuned to it to others. But I've always been highly attuned to my intuition. Whether I ignored it or not was a different story, although these days I'm 100% loyal to my intuition. But I've always been intuitive because of this hypervigilance, because when you're always on eggshells and trying to predict what happens next, it forces you to tap into your intuition. Or another example that people might be able to relate to, some of us are sensitive, meaning that we feel heavy feelings. And some, like for instance, our parents might have told us that we were too much. But on the spectrum of these feeling a lot of feelings, you do have the dark feelings, which don't necessarily feel that great. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, we also feel like love, appreciation, and gratitude, and all the amazing feelings so much deeper. So that is the gift of being sensitive and being an empath. And being a perfectionist, yes, it can feel exhausting and have all these seemingly negative aspects to it, but it also means that you care deeply, that you are a high achiever, because again, high achieving is different from overachieving. I actually recommend being a high achiever and having high standards. So if you are a perfectionist, it just means that you're a high achiever and you have high standards for your life, which is actually a good thing. So where there's always a shadow, there's also a gift. So your homework for today is, and I recommend, because again, we're not just checking off boxes, we're doing this to be intentional. So I highly recommend setting aside at least 30 minutes where you have dedicated time to do this, where you're not going to be distracted. Because the exercise is this: you're going to write down every single thing that you, in this moment, hate about yourself. So do that first, write out the entire list. And then for each one, identify the gift that lives underneath it. So again, anxiety could be intuition. That actually could be one of yours. Some of these are universal. And even if again, it's not a checkbox, it doesn't have to be done in one day. So even if you set aside 30 minutes to do this and you need 30 minutes tomorrow, then do this. This is such a powerful exercise. But to give you a few more examples to get you going, for example, overthinking everything. That could be a good attribute because you're not impulsive, because people who make impulsive decisions aren't thinking at all. So try to think on opposite ends of the spectrum. And so what is the opposite of overthinking? Not thinking at all. So at least you're not that. Or I already talked about getting anxious, too emotional. Oh, another one of the underlying fears about perfectionism is it's actually a form of control because you're afraid if something outside of you is uncertain that you won't be able to handle it. But a gift in being controlling is that you are organized and responsible. So instead of labeling the seemingly negative things, you can also find the gift into them. And you're not flipping negatives into toxic positivity. You're embracing the full picture of who you are. So, for example, yes, I'm controlling, but I'm also organized and responsible, and you're owning all of it. And the key is to not look at controlling as a negative thing. So, the reason behind this exercise is a lot of the underlying emotional intensity or the trigger for our stories is shame, not feeling emotionally safe. So this is just establishing less shame because we're actually making friends with our shadows by finding the gifts. It makes us feel safe actually sitting in these thoughts and processing all of our feelings behind these things, which leads to a deeper connection with ourselves. And I think you'll find as you're doing this exercise that your critical inner voice is going to be pretty quiet because this is truly tapping into the compassionate side of yourself. So for each one, be honest. And again, just remember to be gentle with yourself. If you feel the feelings coming up, we already know the nervous system regulation work to do. Approach it with curiosity. I think that's the heart of compassion. Why am I feeling this way? What can I do differently? It's not about being perfect, it's about growing and being a better version of ourselves. So, that is the exercise for today. So hit like if this was helpful for you, and also hit subscribe because tomorrow, yes, tomorrow, we are going to have a bonus day 4, which is the most powerful and beautiful exercise yet in this challenge. So surprise, there's a day 4, and I will see you tomorrow.